What is up, my little Danos? Vepsisi, your coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and I'm here for my PPL Season 5 draft analysis. And I haven't actually been part of this league since Season 3, I believe. And now that I've been kind of like craving to play Wi-Fi again, thankfully I was invited to this league. So thank you all the admins in the league for giving me the opportunity to play here. All the courses you can find down below in the description. There's 28 courses in total. There's gonna be two separate divisions that both were like, there were 14 courses draft pools separate from each other, and those pools will also have their own schedule, and then we play, I believe, like 8 or 9 weeks in total and see who gets to make to the playoffs and whatnot. So that's roughly the idea of the size of the league and how the scheduling will work. And for me, going to this draft, I was lucky enough to get the first overall pick. And because Iron Valiant wasn't allowed to be drafted this season, it was very easy choice to go with Miasgrada after. Miasgrada was something that I actually wanted to try in one last ride tournament that ended, which by the time that I'm uploading this, I don't think I've had opportunity to upload my full run yet. So you stay tuned for that and see how that will go. But maybe in case you did end up seeing like the first video that I uploaded for that, I did mention that I really wanted to try Miasgrada in Wi-Fi, and I didn't have a chance to do it there, but I will have the opportunity to do it here, and I'm excited for it. I decided to go with my first wheel. One of the first Pokemon I wanted to draft was a strong Special Breaker Terra, and Iron Moth ended up being available still there, even though you could have argued based on what Terra captains were allowed, because not all of the high tier Terras were allowed, like Sarud, Racing Bolt, Tornado Starion, just to name a few, were banned to be a Terra. But Iron Moth was like one of the top 3 probably Terra captains that were allowed. So I was very fortunate that it was still available there, and I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna just take it now. I'm gonna figure out the rest later, how the points will end up being, because like, it's gonna be also very expensive for me to do, because my Miasgrada was like 20 points, I believe. This guy with Terra will be 18 points for my budget, so I'm spending a very high points on my Pokemon, but that's totally fine, because these are Pokemon that I plan to bring every single week and be key part of our game plan. And then I decided to pair with the first 2 picks with a utility mon with a lot of roll compression typing wise and what it's able to do in Gliscor, which is again a Crown immunity and a Crown type that both are essential to have, in my opinion at least. And it's just a good mon with bunch of hazard options, be able to pivot around with U-turn, having access to knockoff, for example, just to remove more items if needed to. Just stuff like that. We know what Gliscor does. It's just a very solid and annoying mon for my opponents to be facing. Then I wanted to add more momentum on the team. You're gonna notice this is a big factor on this draft. I want this to be a momentum and offensively minded draft that is a very different what I usually do. So hopefully you're excited about this whole draft, because that's where we are going with this. So we have Scizor with access to defog as well. This was a key factor for drafting this, that this Pokemon still has access to that move, because I wanted to have a remover that I find reliable to get rid of the hazards and not being spin blocked, because a lot of the rapid spinners that I thought that were left weren't fitting either to my budget, typing wise, or I just find them not reliable enough to be brought consistently. So I decided that, you know what, it's okay, I can figure out the remover part through the defogging aspect and not always think about having like perfect hazard stacking plan that I had like in one last ride. Defog is still fine to have, and with Scizor I also end up having a strong priority option with Bullet Punch. Has just a very good pivot overall, but I don't end up getting the flying resist out of my steel type, so my next pick will be covering that for this roster, which is gonna be Racing Bolt, which is not allowed to Terra unfortunately in this league, but in a way it kind of worked well for me, because if this was allowed to Terra, there was no way I got access to be drafting it, because it would have been gone probably in round 1 as well. So getting a chance to use Racing Bolt is actually something that I'm really excited about. It's been a mod that I've been wanting to try, whether it's with Terra or not. I was okay with either scenario, and on this case it really fit well to the team structure, because it gives me that key flying resist, Special Breaker, and just a solid overall stat contribution to take any kind of hit that I needed it to, especially putting like a Reducing Berry on top of it on it if needed to. So that's gonna be Raging Bolt. Then another mod with momentum and breaking power. We're gonna be having Uzi for Rapid Strike. Another mod that I really never had a proper chance to use, especially in Wi-Fi. I cannot remember a single time I got to use this, so I'm excited about that. It's also a mod that I think works really well in an offensive draft to be a good scaffer that I thought was important to include in a draft like this. So I'm not pigeonholed to run like a booster speed mod every time for speed control. I don't need to run choice scarf on Miaskoda if I fear opposing scaffer to be covering it. So I wanted to have something that also can do that. And it's also the solid breaker, getting access to solid coverage most besides its dual stab that is already pretty good. And yeah, that's gonna be Uzi for Rapid Strike. And then just to make sure we don't run out of momentum moves, we needed another U-turn of course. So we added Yuxi on the team. Another solid crown immunity besides Gliscor, so the crown type should be for the most part covered. Knock on wood, hopefully don't get messed around still with the crown types throughout this season. But Yuxi otherwise, besides like being a good crown immunity, it's just a good sponge for different type of attackers. Besides the ones that it's weak to, of course, like dark types and bug types and ghost types. We're gonna keep Yuxi away from those guys. But outside of those guys, it's pretty good at tanking every single hit and have good supportive moves to go along with it. Besides stealth rocks, status moves, going for U-turn, all that stuff. Yuxi is pretty good what it does, purely as a supportive role. And then after Yuxi, I decided to go after my second Terra Captain, being Comfey, which in Generation 9 I think it has a niche when it comes to like being a valuable priority option through the triads and training kits. Because a lot of the high tier Pokemon are weak to Fairy, and thanks to the fact that this league also makes it sure that a lot of them cannot even change their typing to Terra because they are Terra banned, it makes this one a potentially very valuable asset to have as a failsafe to make sure that you are able to check some of them. And on top of being a Terra Captain, it gives me a nice tool to have a secondary winning condition in case I'm not using my Terralization on my other mod, for example. So that's gonna be the Comfey. Then we're gonna be adding Girder to the team with only 2 points as it's just a reliable defog if needed to, with access to Eviolite to give it more bulk. And giving me priority Mach Punch as well, because I clearly need more priority to the team, right? Like, that's why we have a lot of priority as it is. And it actually doesn't stop from there, because I believe the last guy that is like an actual Pokemon for this roster that I end up drafting is gonna be Lapras, which is my third and final Terra Captain. And Lapras has a niche of being a valuable asset into offensive water types that are either high tier and not allowed to Terra, or some of them that are allowed to Terra. I can force some mind games in prep wise by having this Pokemon in itself, but with the water absorbability and access to Terralization with it if I so choose to. So with that, that's gonna be basically the main portion of the roster, and the last two Pokemon are little bit vibe picks that PPL allowed this season, which is mostly LC Pokemon. Highly unlikely to be seen any kind of playing in meaningful games, and one of those will be Magnemite for me. I figured that, you know what, for free, I might as well pick up Magnemite, that I did actually end up like picking up in BBR in Generation 8 when I took over a team. And I actually did bring it, I did put an effort to bring it to a game, and it almost did come out of Pokeball, but I end up sweeping somebody, I think it was Ogalpina actually, that I swept with like Iron Defense Resistive or something like. It was a crazy game, and Magnemite did not end up doing anything, but regardless, that's gonna be one of our vibe picks. And the last vibe pick, the most important pick of the draft of course, is going to be all of you that are watching in flesh a day now. So you're welcome for that. I picked all of you guys. Leave a like for that, of course, to the video. And that's gonna be the roster in itself. So hopefully you're excited for see me using this roster. I'm certainly very excited to pilot this and see how it will go. It's gonna be something very new, refreshing. Something that I can learn from a lot as a player, to be using offensive team in Generation 9. And I think it has a high potential to do well as well. There might be some hiccups on the way. Well, I say might, I definitely think there will be, of course, but that's all part of the experience of this season, and I'm still hoping and believing that I can pilot this team to the playoffs and hopefully make a deep run there. But until then, until week 1 when I go up against Amber, one of the commissioners of the league, thank you for watching, and I'm gonna be see you guys later.